Everyone, how's it going? Azrin here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's Learn Gujarati with Me podcast episode and YouTube video. Today, we're going to keep going with some Gujarati foods. We're going to learn about a couple more foods today that a lot of Gujarati people eat and a lot of Indian people eat as well. In these previous lessons, we've gone through khandvi. We looked at the ingredients, we looked at how to make it. Khandvi are these soft, cylindrical, delicious snacks. Oh, so yummy. The base in this one particular food is chana no lot. That's one of the main ingredients. We have as well fafda. Fafda we looked at a few lessons ago. Fafda is like a really crunchy, really thin, kind of a long snack as well. That is also made primarily with chickpea flour, chana no lot. And today we're going to look at another one to begin, which is just called gathiya. Now, gathiya and fafda are technically the same thing. In other words, they're made of the same ingredients, exactly the same ingredients. So we have chana no lot, chickpea flour, ajmo, which are carom seeds. They have a very intense, sharp, spicy, tongue-numbing flavor. We have tel, oil, pani, water. We have nimak or mitu for salt. We have gathiya no soda, which is baking soda specifically for making this kind of a dish. You could use regular baking soda. Regular baking soda is kava no soda. Kava no soda. So it's like soda for eating. I think the proportions just change a little bit. It's not the same ratios. We have black pepper, which is muddy powder. Muddy is black pepper. Another way you could say it is muddy no bhuko, which translates to the powder, bhuko, of muddy, of black pepper. We have sanchar powder, which is black salt. We have hing. Hing tastes like a pungent onion, pretty much. And of course, we have some hardar as well, which has kind of a bitter, woody sort of flavor. In different recipes, they might adjust some of these ingredients as well. So, for example, I've definitely seen some recipes that don't have hardar. My grandmother, for example, doesn't like using hing. She doesn't like the flavor of it, so she doesn't use it. So by all means, these recipes sometimes are modifiable. So when you make these, right? So gathiya, they have the exact same ingredients as fafda, but really the main difference is the texture. So fafda, they're long, they're thin, they're crunchy, they're crispy, almost in a way like a chip, kind of. Gathiya have the same ingredients, but it's much more crumbly. They actually come out like these little like hard cylinders, pretty much, and they crumble in your mouth. Once you start to chew them both, they taste the same because again they have that chickpea flour, the chana no lot. So you're still gonna get that same mouthfeel once you start to chew, but the initial mouthfeel is really, really different. When you make gathiya, there's also a big difference in how they're made. If you've seen gathiya before, you'll recognize that cylindrical shape with ridges through the sides. And the way that they're made is that we press the chickpea flour, we press it through what is called a jaro. Jaro is like a large perforated ladle or spoon. So it has holes in it, and you kind of press it through there. There's also some machines called a gathiya machine. Literally, gathiya machine is what it's called. So it's a machine for gathiya. And it presses out the dough presses out the dough for you pretty much. And it creates like a nice shape. And so again, gathiya and fafda gathiya, they're the same thing pretty much. They just have a different mouth feel overall. I would say as well that gathiya, you eat them with different things. So for example, gathiya go really, really nice with cha. Cha in Gujarati is tea. So a nice masala cha, like a chai tea latte in Starbucks or something like that. That's obviously not the most authentic kind, but you get the gist. That nice masala cha with gathiya go really, really well together. Whereas fafda or fafda gathiya, another word for them, go really well with jalebi. Jalebi and fafda gathiya go really, really well together. So jalebi, you've probably had them before, or at least you've seen them. They are these really colorful, really bright, orange or yellow little pretzel things. They look like little pretzels in a way, except a lot smaller. And how do we make it? So we have mendo. Mendo is white flour, like all-purpose flour, mendo. We're gonna have khand. Khand is sugar. Khand is used to make the chastani. Chastani is like a sugar syrup. So we take sugar, we boil it in water, and it creates a sugar syrup. Have I spelled syrup wrong, by the way? Syrup with an O or syrup with a U? I don't even know, actually. Well, that's okay. I'll look after. So it's used to make a sugar syrup. Chastani. Chastani is the sugar syrup. We're going to have eno as well. Now, a lot of people in Western countries may not be familiar with eno because we don't use in Canadian cooking or British cooking or North in US cooking. Like we don't really use eno in the kitchen all that often. If we do know what eno is, it's because we may know it as an antacid because it is an antacid. In Indian households, however, eno, it's a powder. It's used in cooking kind of in a similar way to how in Canada or in US or Western countries, we use baking powder or baking soda. In fact, if you look at the ingredients of eno, eno pretty much is just a mixture of baking soda and citric acid. For some reason, I don't really know why. Some people will refer to eno as fruit salt. I don't know why. To me, it doesn't taste like salt. It doesn't really taste like fruit, not to me, but that is what people call it. So that's eno. So we're gonna have eno. It's like this baking soda, sort of a citric acidy baking soda. That's gonna be in jalebi as well. In jalebi, we have ghee. Ghee is clarified butter. Now, in order to make clarified butter, if you don't know what it is and or haven't seen people make it, you take butter, you melt down the butter and simmer it. When you do that, the water evaporates and the milk solids separate. You then strain this mixture and it leaves the milk solids out, and you're left with this pure milk fat. The water's gone, the milk proteins are gone, the lactose, I think, is even largely removed because I think it attaches to the proteins, I think. So you're pretty much left with mostly milk solids. And that is what we call ghee or clarified butter. And so when we make jalebi, it's actually relatively straightforward process, honestly. First of all, we take our mendo. Mendo's our white flour. We're going to add some water. We're going to mix it up. We're going to turn it into like a dough, pretty much. You then take that dough and you squeeze it into a nice shape, into that pretzel-like shape that you've seen for jalebi. And you squeeze that into hot oil or hot ghee. That ghee or the oil, it fries in there. It becomes all cooked and fried. You take your little pretzel thing out. You put it in your chastani. Chastani, again, one more time, is sugar, khand, and water, which is boiled to create a sugar syrup. So you take it in the chastani, the sugar syrup, let the sugar syrup soak up into the dough, into the fried dough, and then you eat it. And it's really sweet and really yummy and all delicious. Jalebi usually is orange or yellow, and the reason it's orange or yellow is because in our sugar syrup, in our chastani, we're going to add coloring to it. And so that is how we eat jalebi. Now, I do want to talk about one last thing. It has nothing to do with language. Honestly, a lot of you can just close the video right here. It's perfectly fine. But I do want to kind of talk about ghee specifically and walk you through something that's really meaningful, really important to me, and that maybe it'll really help you as well. And this is specifically for people that might have weird food sensitivities or weird food allergies. So again, not language related. You're welcome to close the video here if you want. But if you do have weird food sensitivities, weird food allergies, I want to share a personal story of mine as I've gone through identifying different food allergies I have and share some things that I've learned. So I have a very peculiar milk allergy. Most of the time when people have a milk allergy, they are allergic to the lactose. So they drink milk and not that long after they have a reaction, they start to have gas, they go to the bathroom, they have that lactose reaction. For me, that's not what happens. So for me, I'm actually allergic from what I can tell, I think I'm allergic to the proteins in milk. Specifically, that is casein and whey. I'm not a doctor by any means. I have no formal education in this. This is just stuff that I figured out just on my own as I was trying to figure out why I was getting all these different allergic reactions. So I think I'm allergic to the proteins in milk, casein and whey. Now, from what I understand, when you're allergic to the proteins, that allergic reaction isn't isn't caused in a typical way. With most allergies, when people think of allergies, the allergy is instant. You have it, and there's certain cells in your body that instantly recognize you had an allergen, and they're like, oh, you had an allergen, cause a reaction, and your body reacts. From these protein allergies, from what I understand, it's actually recognized by a different cell in the body. I think it's the white blood cells, actually, when I was researching. And as I've been trying to figure this out myself, like why I was getting weird reactions. I think it's actually done by white blood cells. And what happens with the white blood cells is that it takes them longer to recognize that I've eaten an allergen. It takes, like, in my case, it's usually about 24 hours. Could be a little bit less, could be a little bit more, but it's approximately 24 hours. What that meant for me was I was getting all these very annoying rashes. They were so itchy, and then my neck would be red, my arms would be red. It was visible as well, so people could really see it if you're out and about. And it was very uncomfortable and itchy and burny and just didn't feel good. And I couldn't figure out where it was coming from. I thought it was heat. I thought it was gluten at one point. I thought it was all sorts of different things. And for me, what made it so hard to identify that it was milk is I didn't know that there can be delayed allergic reactions. I didn't understand that concept. So it ended up helping me a lot to identify that I have this milk allergy and that it's not a typical lactose allergy. It's like a protein thing. What really helped me was to keep a food log and literally track everything that I ate every single day. But then what I do is when I got a reaction, I would look in the past 24 to 48 hours what I ate and not just on that day. Initially, I was making the mistake of only looking at what I ate on that day, but I wasn't thinking of what did I eat yesterday? What did I eat 2 days ago? And when I looked in a 2-day window, I started to notice a pattern of, oh, it looks like I'm always having milk, and that's what's causing the reaction. One more thing that was really helpful for me to understand was that with my particular allergic reaction, apparently, because it's not mediated by the same cells, I think typical allergies are mediated by what is called IgE cells. I think, I could be wrong, I'm not a doctor, but I think that they're IgE cells and they instantly recognize that there's been an allergen. But mine are not mediated by that. They're mediated by, again, I think, I have no actual medical background to prove this, but this is just me trying to sort this out for myself. I think they're mediated by T cells, which are white blood cells. Because of that, if you go for a typical skin prick allergy test, which I did, it shows up as negative. I went to the skin prick allergy test. I got tested for every single allergy because I knew I was allergic to something. I just didn't know what it was. They tested me for everything, my whole body, like my arms, my back, everything was pricked. I had bee venom, wasp venom, every kind of venom injected into me. I was tested for everything. Milk came up negative. Everything came up negative except for this one random pollen. But like everything was negative and milk was negative. But again, because it's mediated by a different cell that doesn't show up on an allergy test, which I just didn't know. And so if maybe, honestly, I'm not a doctor. I'm just sharing my personal experience with this. When I was writing about ghee in the document, I was like, oh my God, I kind of want to share this in case maybe it helps someone. I was going through so many different, it was so annoying and itchy and just, a real problem in my life. And I solved it by thinking through that allergies might take time to show up. And that was kind of the big unlock for me. As another final random aside, I personally am just wondering if I actually could have ghee. I don't know. I've never tested because when you have ghee, it actually takes the proteins out. It takes the milk proteins out. I think it does anyway. The casein and the whey. And I'm pretty darn sure that, see, I don't get reactions anymore. And when I do get reactions, it's because I have the milk. I have something with those proteins. And I'm wondering if I can have ghee because the proteins are removed. But I haven't tested because I don't like having rashes. And the rashes take forever to clear and it's so itchy and blah, it's no fun. Anyway, that's that. Thank you for watching and see you in the next lesson. Outro. Bye.